Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Capricorn. If Capricorn is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so our card tonight is the Knight of Swords, Capricorn. We're going to see what exactly these tea leaves are going to tell us tonight. And so if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Okay. So I'm getting a lot of like fast moving energy, running, a lot of running and chasing and laughter. Oh yes. Okay. Okay, let's start right here. So I love this image. We have a person right here who looks like they are kind of running. Their hands are out. Okay, we have a little heart right here. We have the letter A right here. We also have a person standing over here, and it looks like they're holding out an airplane. Okay, we also have it looks like a small child on the airplane. And I feel like this is a situation where you're going to be traveling, right? I feel like you're going home to see mom. You're going home to see dad. You're going home to see the family. Coming together with people that, you know, they just make you feel happy at home. This reunion maybe feels like it hasn't come fast enough. I think you've really been looking forward to going and being with your people. And I wonder if, you know, this is kind of the first time being back around them after having kind of an emotional breakthrough, maybe with them, right? It might be with yourself first and then has kind of spilled over into the way that you connect with the people that you grew up with your family, with your parents, okay? So I do feel like there is this sense of really being so like jubilant. That's the word that keeps coming up in my mind. Just so excited to see them, to hug your mom, to hug your kids. Maybe you're going to see your adult kids. I don't know, but it does. It feels like there is just this bond that is so strong. It has been tested, but you know that it can never be broken, right? You know that you would never do anything to try to harm it or harm them. And I think that they wouldn't with you either. But I do feel like, and a lot of this has to do with the fact that we have a sword energy here. There can be a breakdown of communication. Okay, I think that you're probably pretty good at sometimes misunderstanding people, or at least misunderstanding their intentions. And I think that at times you can get really kind of, you know, defensive about things. And I think that in some ways, yeah, you maybe sequester yourself kind of away from whoever it is you're in conflict with. And that can be that, yeah, you got up and moved away from everybody. You took a job across the country, or, you know, you went away to school and you just decided you're never coming back, right? I'm going to establish my life somewhere else. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think actually, you know, sometimes it needs to happen because it actually strengthens the relationship. when you can go home and see them, when they can come and visit. But then, you know, you have the ability to kind of go back into your own little world and do your own thing. And so I do feel like this is going to be a wonderful little period of time here. You know, and then as I kind of looked at this, I just realized that it looks like we have kind of this oil lamp right here, which has to do with the genie, right? If you can remember back to the old stories of rubbing the lamp and the genie comes out and asks you, you know, what 3 wishes do you want? Well, so this is a symbol of maybe a wish being fulfilled, okay? So this is something I think you've really been hoping for. This rebuilding of bridges, this union being actualized, strengthened, and really just being able to be around people who know you. They've known you forever, right? Now, so I feel like we have maybe 2 sisters or 2 female energies who will be there kind of in the mix. And I feel like it's kind of, there's a lot of news. These are people who really like to talk a lot, like to maybe even gossip a bit. So I think you come into this situation a little bit reserved, right? A little bit of, I'm going to choose very carefully what information I give, right? Because if you talk to them about it, everybody's going to know about it. And so I do feel there is kind of there's a fondness, there's a kinship, but there's also like, I'm going to really, really kind of reserve myself here. I'm going to tread lightly. I'm going to, you know, kind of curate the information that I present here, that I give out. And not a bad idea, right? Because listen, as Capricorns, and I'm not a solar Capricorn, but I am ascendant. And as Capricorns, yeah, we're private people. Absolutely. You could, you know, not pay me back the money I loaned you, but, and I'll get over it, right? But if you are out here, you know, putting dirt on my name, talking about my private affairs, yeah, I'm not, I will not talk to you again, right? I am absolutely good with walking away. And, you know, I know that you're the same, Capricorn. I know you feel me on that one. So let's go ahead. We have 2 calves. We have the number 67. I almost wonder if you're going to be in kind of farm country. I almost wonder if you grew up rural, actually. Or maybe you spent your summers on the farm, or, you know, you've always wanted to have a farm. You've dreamt of the farm life. Homesteading, this kind of thing. I feel there is really this draw towards getting away from it all, really. Get the noise and the commotion, the traffic. There's a feeling of, I just want something a little simpler. Now, as a person who has come from the city most of my life, right? And now I live very rural, and on the same kind of wavelength. Let me just tell you, if you haven't lived out in the country, go rent a place for a couple years before you buy. Make sure that you like it, because it's so different. It seems like the simple life, like it's going to be easy. It's a lot of work. Absolutely. You can even see every day I'm like, I'm going to cut my nails and clean them. You can even see I've been out here in the gardens. I've been out here digging in the dirt. And it just, it's a lot of getting used to, and just a different pace of life. I would recommend it to most people, right? But I feel like you're drawn to this kind of more serene experience. And I think that's really the overall driving thing for you. I think that you're so accomplished in your work life, your career. You're pretty good at making money, maybe like networking and being in a leadership role, creative, innovative, intelligent, all of these things. But I think in the larger picture, there's a sense of wanting to be able to settle down. And I don't just mean like, getting married and having a house and dog and, whatever it is, 2.5 kids or, whatever they say. No. I mean, that might be part of your plan, or maybe you have that already. But I think settling down in your life, what that looks like to you is having less stressors, right? Having the ability to engage in some leisure, having some moments to yourself, kind of leading a life where, you can follow your desires, your interests, having hobbies, I watched my neighbors, they mow the lawn and stuff, and I would love to be out there doing that every day. Now everybody's retired that lives around us, so they have more time, right? A little more time. But I myself look out the window, I'm like at the kitchen doing dishes, making lunch, whatever. And I look out and, I can see the guy across the way or whatever, with his animals, or, he has like some horses and stuff, or out there doing the lawns with the tractor and stuff. And, I think, one day, right? One day, I can spend most of my days out there. Now I do have the ability to, go out and do the gardening and yard work and all that. And I just want more, right? I can't be fulfilled enough. But yeah, I do. I think that's something similar for you. There's a desire for just slowing things down, right? For your big concerns to be like, oh, they don't have, my coffee creamer at the store today. That's like a big tragedy of the week. Just like having a amount of time in your life where not everything is going haywire and you're not being pulled in 50 directions. You just want to exist and do your thing and live the way you want to live, and maybe even be left alone a little bit, right? Just left to your own devices at times. And, I see you really kind of, as these months go on, as these years go on, more and more prioritizing this. Now, I think a lot of us really did make a lot of changes in our lives the last, 2024. So 4 years ago, right? When all that stuff happened and all of our lives were turned upside down, right? And we were forced to kind of really, take inventory of things, to really look at what are our priorities here? What do I really want to do? What's actually important, right? And I think that a lot of us, right, have been proactive about trying to resort some of that stuff. You know, doing things that are meaningful and changing our lives in ways that are maybe hopefully a little more sustainable and so on. But, you know, we're a few years out now, or at least a couple, right? And I think we're back into the flow of things a little bit. We're starting to get that kind of amnesia, right? Of like, what was important to me a couple years ago when I had to really sit down and contemplate it. There was nothing else I could be doing at that time, right? And so I think this is a time where you are kind of rechecking in with yourself. I think you are reevaluating. What is this next 5 years going to be like? How am I going to get to my kind of, what was that show called? Green Acres? Now, I think of that as like an idyllic place, but I think in the show there were a lot of like, you know, silliness and little dramas going on. So maybe the idyllic aspect without all of the dramas. You know, but I see you really kind of deciding some big things here in the next year or so. Okay. And that's not always easy, but I also think that you remember even just how it was in those days that we were indoors, right? For a long time. I think you still remember, you know, those moments of real clarity, of really thinking like, you know, this life, not guaranteed. Nothing here that I thought was permanent, that was forever, that I had worked hard for, I earned it. Now it's mine and it's going to stay mine. We saw that is just an illusion, right? For a lot of us, just an illusion. And we have to kind of reframe what does fulfillment really mean for us? You know, what are we actually looking for? You know, what kinds of things do I want in my life that I can really get with, you know, really be immersed in, to look back on and think, yeah, I you know, bravely chose. Maybe it's not the easiest path, but it's the path that's going to stay with me. It's the path that is meaningful. And so, yeah, with those two calves, I feel, you know, there is this sense of a real beginning. And it is a most holy symbol, the cow, the calf, right? And it also really does imply there is an energy of the mother guiding you as well, the divine feminine, okay? So you are cared for, you are looked after, and to follow your will, your intuition, your desires as a human being, you know, beneath all of the pomp and circumstance and the masks and the personas and all of that, being the kind of stripped down entity, that being that you are, you know, what do I actually want and need? And coming to a place of honoring that, right? And maybe even beginning again. And that really does tie into the rebirth, okay? So we're going to go over here. We're going to go over here and see what this plate has to tell us. So we have a flamingo. So the flamingo, really kind of similar to the chameleon. It is usually white, right? A flamingo starts out as white. It gains its color. I believe it's from the food it eats, the fish that it eats. There is some chemical in the fish or coloring in the fish, it changes the color of the flamingo. Now I could be wrong. That might be a myth, right? I don't know. I should look it up. But yes, I think that's what I remember being taught, right? And so anyways, the color changes, and that is ultimately the symbolism here. And so being able to kind of fit in and assimilate to the situation you're in, you're really good at doing that, okay? And I think that's why you're good in business, why you're good in whatever your career path has been. You are probably not so much, it's like you're changing who you are, but more of a mirroring. You get into a situation and you use the technique of mirroring, which is basically just saying back to somebody what they're saying to you, or mimicking their movements, the way they're moving their hands. If they smile, you smile, and this is something we all do, right? We all do it. You will really see it in children, babies, okay? This is why when babies are really young, we're teaching them, how we're feeling. We relate our facial expressions to how we feel. So when we're talking to a little baby, an infant, you're smiling and you're talking really high and, oh, good job, oh my goodness, that's so great. And yeah, it maybe seems like a put on, but it is because they are learning mirroring. They are learning also to read people's expressions and read their emotions and their body language and all this stuff. I look at this and I feel like, this is something that you're really good at. Now, you might even be a little bit, self-conscious about this. It might even feel like, what is that called? Like imposter syndrome kind of deal, where maybe you almost worry that you are not who people perceive you to be, right? You are, they think, oh, what a charming person. So intelligent, well-spoken, really easy to talk to. And in your mind, you're thinking, but that's not really who I am. They like me because they see themselves in me. I am actually something else, or I'm not that, or, whatever it is. And I think that at times this can get in your way, right? I feel like there's kind of a disconnect or disharmony with you and I think generally other people, right? Not in an easier, superficial kind of interaction way, but when you're getting close to somebody, when you're trying to really know somebody and let them see you, I think that this is something that you maybe perceive about yourself. Or maybe it's something that somebody has said to you, right? Oh, you're fake. Or, oh, you're so different with every person that you're around, right? Who are you even? You're a poser. That's from I'm aging myself with this one, but yeah, calling somebody a poser was like the biggest rip ever, right? I still ask my husband sometimes. Recently, I got these skirts that, so I could wear more of my band shirts. I have a whole bunch of like band shirts from over the years. And I'm like, do I look like a old middle-aged poser right now? I've had this shirt since I saw the band 20 years ago. But do I look like a poser, babe? I think it can be something that does. It stops us from doing something that maybe we want to do or makes us feel self-conscious, right? And so this maybe is something, to kind of evaluate a little bit and remind yourself, right? You're thinking about this stuff way more than anybody else is. And you know, likely people don't even notice it at all, right? And really, ultimately, you have to give yourself a lot of grace. We're all just out here trying to make it, right? Trying to get through our days. And yeah, if you reflect other people's emotions or their behaviors or their mannerisms or whatever, you know, okay, you know, that's all right. That's all right. A lot of us do it. Actually, all of us do it to some degree, okay? Do not let it get you too in your head. Don't get stuck on it. Now, we also have the I. We have the letter L. And I feel like this is... It feels like a masculine energy. We have an angel up here. We have a person here. Somebody who maybe transitioned fairly young. They're tied to the moon. I wonder if they passed at night. But there's this tie to the moon. A very lunar person. And it feels like they passed away unexpectedly. It was shocking. I think it really, and I think this happened when you were younger. And I think it completely destroyed your vision of life. I almost wonder if this is a sibling. And I almost wonder if it was something that they did to themselves, right? Or it was something that maybe intentional, maybe not, maybe it's unclear, right? You don't really know for sure. Or you go back and forth in your mind, or, you know, whatever it is. So I feel like that this is very much this classic feeling of they're watching over you and you are living your life not only for yourself, but you carry them with you. It's kind of like because they were not able to grow up really and live a life and, you know, have all those kind of rites of passage. I feel that you have kind of been that person who carries their memory, and everything that you do is kind of an achievement, not only for yourself, but for them. And I feel like they're kind of your guardian angel. They come and visit you. You feel them around. You dream about them. And, you know, I think this is one of the big defining things of your life. Not only the loss, right? The process that happens before, during, and after the loss of somebody. Especially when it's something traumatic, something you don't know is going to happen. We often go over every detail a million times, over and over and over and over, even years later. And, you know, I think that it's a thing that is hard to understand, but it also is kind of, you've lived with it for so long now that you can kind of look at it and see, you know, this is something that it was out of your control, and you loved them and they're there with you even now. And I feel you also have it's a very solid feeling of we will be together again, right? We're going to be just like we were. And I don't think you even tell people about this, really. That's the interesting thing. I think that you are somebody who, it's not like you're hiding it, but you don't talk about it. You certainly don't, like, offer up this information easily. It's not something you would talk about like on a date or getting to know you. There are probably people in your life that you're very close to that don't know about this situation. Or if they know about it, they don't know, kind of your insights and processes and so on. So I want to go ahead. Let's do our self-care affirmation cards. And I'm just going to flip through. I'm going to stop where it feels right. Vat of life energy. I am wise with money because it is the vat where I store my life energy. I seek to enjoy the money I spend more than the life energy I put in to gain it. I remember this virtue of frugality. I remember this virtue of frugality. Now, I honestly believe that I get my frugality / cheapness from my Capricorn placement. I am so, I am so on top of trying to save money everywhere I can. I also grew up with my great grandma who, very much was a child teenager during the what's it called, Depression, and they were from Oklahoma. Well, not originally, it's my native family. They were to say it nicely, they were relocated to Oklahoma, but they were there during the Dust Bowl and they left around that time. And so I grew up around a strong warrior who absolutely was very frugal because she had to be, and it rubbed off on me. And I think it's also that Capricorn just intensifies it so much. All right, so anyways, Capricorn, I want to tell you I love you because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you, and if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. If you have not subscribed, think about doing that. It is free. Also leave a comment if you feel so inclined. I would love to hear from you. If you're new to the channel, definitely shout it out in the comment section. And with that, I will say, I love you, I love you, I love you. Good night.